The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is not doing enough.
The fact that they shoot at people as they're waiting in line for humanitarian aid. Dozens of people get shot and killed literally every single day. Every single day as they're waiting for food. No, I'm not going to let you filibuster, bitch. I'm not going to let you filibuster. I'm not going to let you filibuster.
What you're about to watch is one of the most uncomfortable, raw, and brutally honest exchanges that has ever aired on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Piers is fired up. Anna Kasparian is at her breaking point. And the guest sitting across from them, he's about to find out the hard way that prepared talking points don't survive when someone actually pushes back. You're going to see Piers strip away the polished PR language sentence by sentence. You're going to see Anna lose her patience in real time. And by the end of this clip, you'll understand exactly why this debate is being shared millions of times across the internet. Stick with me, because I'm going to break down every key moment, and trust me, you do not want to miss what happens around the 4-minute mark. Let's get into it.
After all these attacks on Palestinians as they're queuing up for food, the IDF says basically the same thing. Either they were firing warning shots, or they felt they were being threatened by some people, or they've launched an inquiry or an investigation, and we never get the results of any of this. But in the meantime, 1,000 people who are desperately hungry and are queuing for food, even though you say they've got plenty of food, there are thousands stampeding for the small amounts of food that they can get their hands on, even though you say they're not hungry because you've overfed them, right? That all these people are just dropping dead. And it's got nothing to do with the fact the IDF are firing towards them, when everybody knows it does. And this is the problem when you defend the indefensible. It would have so much more credibility if the IDF just once said, you know what, we did. We shot at them, and like you said, you're very proud of everything they're doing. And if they were to proudly own this and explain why they need to shoot starving people who are stampeding for fragments of food, maybe we'd all take a lot more seriously the other claims they make. And the other point I'd make, Shawaz, is when you now just tell me I'm talking nonsense and they're all overfed and no one's getting killed and it's all on Hamas. To this day, the Israeli government refuses to let any international media into Gaza. And it's not because of the quaint notion that they're worried about the safety of journalists, because they've killed over 200 Palestinian journalists. They don't care about the health and safety of journalists, and it's not their business to decide about the safety requirements of journalists. It's the business of the organizations that employ them. But until Israel's government allows foreign media into Gaza to verify its endless, in my opinion, utterly disingenuous statements, then no one should believe a word they're now saying. Because why should we? Why should we? Why should we believe anything that the Israeli government is saying about any of this when they don't want the world's media to see it? After October the 7th, what was the first thing they did? They brought the world's media into the kibbutzes to see the full horror of what Hamas did, to verify the truth. But they won't apply that same thinking to verifying the truth in Gaza. And as a journalist, I know why they don't want to do that. They don't want people to see the truth. They're hiding the truth. That enables them to lie with impunity and to discount any responsibility for anything they're doing. And if I sound angry about this, it's because I'm bloody angry about it. Because it's so obvious that they don't want people to see the truth. And you can sit here and you can say till you're blue in the teeth, there's nothing going on that's wrong. There's nothing to see here. It's all on Hamas. No one's starving anyone. No one's shooting anyone in food aids. No one's doing anything wrong. This is the most moral army in the world. Well, okay, so let the journalists in and we can see for ourselves just how true that all is.
Stop. Rewind that for a second. Look at what Piers just did. He didn't yell. He didn't insult anyone. He just laid out a simple, devastating question that nobody on the other side of this debate has been able to answer for almost 2 years now. If everything is fine, if the reporting is wrong, if the situation is being misrepresented, then there's a very easy solution. Open the doors, let foreign journalists in, let them film, document, and report independently. That's it. That's the whole argument. And the fact that this hasn't happened, the fact that international press still cannot freely enter Gaza to verify anything, speaks louder than any press conference, any spokesperson, any official statement ever could. Piers is making a journalist's argument, not a political one. And that's why it lands so hard. Now watch what happens next, because the guest tries to pivot, and Aina is not having it.
So after listening to that disquisition, let me say this. You're certainly entitled to your opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. I agree with you. The Israel Foreign Ministry and the Israel Defense Forces should let journalists like yourself, Piers, not only into Gaza, but also into the Kerem Shalom border crossing. So you can see with your own eyes, the way I have seen, the more than 800 humanitarian aid trucks that were going into Gaza on a daily basis. I never once said that
why
there's
are they
no
stampeding for food? If they're so overfed, why are they stampeding for food?
Piers, I defend you constantly. You are not an anti-Semite, obviously, but I do understand why people have trepidation coming on your show because they allow you to speak for 5 minutes, and the moment I try to make a point, you interrupt. So if you allow me just 2 minutes to make my point, and then you can tell me why.
Just make your point.
Okay.
Just make your point. Stop crying about it.
No, that's a valid thing to say. It's fine. I don't want to keep interrupting people. That's fine. Go on.
I appreciate it. Let me say as follows. I agree with you. Journalists should be allowed into Gaza. I imagine, though, the Israeli position is, well, we can't allow journalists into Gaza because if the accusations from individuals like Piers Morgan or Anna Kasparian is that we are killing journalists indiscriminately, and then journalists were to end up being killed because Gaza is an active war zone, you can imagine what that would do on the PR front. Never mind the fact that British military rule does not allow journalists into active combat zones. So what you are saying is we should apply a double standard to Israel, that they need to allow journalists into an active war zone, but no other Western country needs to follow the same procedures. Even with that double standard, I would concede that point. I agree journalists should be allowed in. As for starvation, I never once said that people are being overfed. I never once said that what the IDF is doing inherently all the time is good. What I am saying is the IDF has taken measures that no other Western country has ever taken in modern warfare. The fact that they drop leaflets on buildings telling civilians to evacuate because there are known Hamas entities in those buildings. The fact that they have provided more aid into Gaza post-October 7th than pre-October 7th is something I'm very proud of. And if you believe that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is not doing enough,
the fact that they shoot at people as they're waiting in line for humanitarian aid. Dozens of people get shot and killed literally every single day. Every single day as they're waiting for food. No, I'm not going to let you filibuster, bitch. I'm not going to let you filibuster. I'm not going to let you filibuster.
And there it is. That's the moment Anna Kasparian snapped, and honestly, you can feel it building the entire conversation. She's listening, trying to give the guest space to explain his position, but the second the conversation turns to people being shot while waiting for food, something in her breaks. And whether you agree with her or not, this is what real emotion looks like on TV. Not performative, not scripted, just raw frustration from someone watching the same footage everyone else has seen. Notice how she keeps repeating, "It's unbearable." That's not a debate tactic, that's a human being hitting a wall. And even in the middle of all that emotion, she still clearly condemns Hamas without dodging it. She fully owns her position. That's why this clip is resonating with so many people.
You guys are totally okay with IDF soldiers shooting and killing desperate people waiting for humanitarian aid. You're okay with that. I find it so unbelievably evil. Unbelievably evil. It shocks my conscience and my soul that people as evil as this exist in this world. Okay? Watching these images, looking at these videos, seeing all these kids desperate, hungry, parentless, trapped in Gaza. And you're sitting here and you're defending it. I can't stand it. I can't listen to it. The filibustering is unbearable. It's unbearable.
And what I tell you what,
I can't take it. How can you watch all those kids die?
Okay,
and be
let me
okay
bring Gideon back in here.
Will you call on Hamas right now to surrender and release the hostages? Do it. Do it right now. Say, I called out Hamas.
I called out Hamas from the very beginning. I've got no love for Hamas. It's a terrorist organization. What they did was wrong. I cried over the atrocities that they engaged in on October 7th. But you know what's so disgusting? You want to? Yes, I did. You should watch The Young Turks. That's where you'll see exactly what I had to say about Hamas after October 7th. I even trashed elements of the left who refused to criticize Hamas for what they did. Okay, so you don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to that issue.
Okay, you made that clear.
But you can't on one hand,
you
can't on one hand talk about the injustice of what Hamas did and then turn around and say it's okay if Israel does it times 1,000.
Okay.
And that right there is why this exchange has people talking. Piers Morgan came into this debate with one demand: transparency. Let the press in. Let independent journalists see what's actually happening on the ground. Because at the end of the day, that's not politics. That's basic journalism. And Anna Kasparian reminded viewers that you can condemn terrorism while still demanding accountability from governments. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. So now I want to hear from you. Did Piers make the strongest case you've heard so far? Was Anna right to lose her patience? Or did she go too far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and if this breakdown gave you a new perspective, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next major moment everyone else is afraid to talk about. I'll see you in the next one.